On today's Into Your Head podcast number 638 for Wednesday, Parroting and Amoeba, a tale of two Beatles in a bar, being judged by amoebas, swearing versus binary code, more stuff about amoebas, arachnophobia versus academia, unnecessarily naming flying dots, and lots more, with your humble proprietor, me, Neal from Ireland. Hello. Lot to get on with today. Items that need to be attended to, issues that need to be addressed, topics. Topics. We've got lots and lots of topics. We're positively moving to the seams with topics. You've got topics coming out of this mouth. This mouth. Have I said that before? I probably have. Well, excuse me for being, what do you call it? Oh, what's that thing? Not persistent. You know the thing. I can't think of the word now, but excuse me for being regular in my not changing what I say every 5 minutes and keeping up the maintaining the same policy from 1 month to the next. Excuse me for being that. What's the fucking word? Consistent. That's the word. Consistency. Consistency is the it's the filth, and the consistency is the sewer muck that keeps this world stuck together. You may think that sewer muck and shit running through under our... I don't mean the stuff in the pipes that we build. No. Long before there was ever sewer pipes, there was filth and shit and dirt running around under the ground, because it has to go somewhere. And that stuff holds this world together, I can tell you. Whenever you hear is an earthquake, that's because the old shit piles are moving about. They're being less consistent than they used to be. I can tell you, if there's one thing I've learned from my non-study of geographistics, it's that if the shit starts moving, then it's going to hit a fan. Of course, in the old days, when the shit used to move around, when there was nobody on the earth, human civilization hadn't advanced yet, there was no fans for it to hit. Unless, of course, there was a natural fan somewhere, I suppose. Maybe a eucalyptus tree or a palm branch or something waving around in the wind. That might make a fan for the shit to hit. But not much would result from that or any interest. Even if it did, there'd be nobody there to take any interest in it. It's like the old thing, if a bear shits in the wood and knocks a tree down and nobody is there to see it, does anybody give a flying fuck? Well, I do. Just because it doesn't affect us doesn't mean I shouldn't take an interest in it. You can take an interest in anything. I can take an interest in an amoeba that's crawling up my arm right now for all I know. Amoeba, hello, how are you? Amoeba? See, no answer. Just because there's no answer, people think, fuck that amoeba. I'm not taking any further interest in that amoeba because it takes no interest in me. It's a selfish, self-obsessed cunt. Well, I hope you see that you're hypocritical if that's the way you go on. Anyway, hello, and welcome to the show.
Hello, I'm Neal's newest cat, Bowsy II, and when I'm chewing earphone cables, I listen to Into Your Head until they stop working.
Two prehistoric amoebas walk into an underground natural stream through which sewage flows, or flowed, I suppose. But we started in the present sense, so we'll continue in the present tense, even though this is set back millions upon millions of years ago, back in prehistoric times, back before there was even such a thing as history. We didn't even know there was going to be history, so we weren't, nobody was put off by it. We didn't have any lack of confidence because we thought, we're not even in history yet. No, we didn't know what history was yet, so it was a blissful ignorance. Not that there's anything great about being in historic times now. No, if you lived in historic times rather than in prehistoric times, there's no difference between the two. We realise that now. You're no no better. You're no better than any human being who might have lived back in the age of the dinosaurs, just because they didn't exist. There'll come a time now soon enough when you don't exist, and I'll tell you, back then when they didn't exist, those people who didn't exist in the time of the dinosaurs in prehistory, when they didn't exist, you didn't exist either. It's just that you exist now, so don't be getting all cocky. Anyway, as I say, two prehistoric amoebas walk into a kind of underground stream, an underground river of sorts that happens to naturally ferry the crop that people crop into the ground. Eventually ends down there somewhere. It flows, the more watery stuff of it anyway, flows down into this stream. Eventually ends up in the sea and goes Christ knows where. One of the amoeba straight away says, Christ, this place stinks a bit. I wonder what goes on down here. And the other amoeba says nothing. And the first amoeba says, what, have you not evolved the ability to speak yet? And the other amoeba says nothing. And the first amoeba says, I wonder, maybe I'm not the first amoeba then. I might be the second amoeba. If I'm the one who's evolved the ability to speak and the other amoeba hasn't, maybe I'm the second amoeba and you're the first amoeba. Or maybe I'm like the 8 billionth amoeba and there's been about 7 billion amoebas between us, in which case that will make me a lot older than you. So well done for staying alive all this time. But we've evolved now. It's time for you to feck off. If you can't even frigging speak, unless you're planning to evolve during your lifetime, which would be quite unusual. Anyway, the other amoeba straight away perks up then. He says, fuck you, you cunt. You cocky cunt. It's just because you're evolved doesn't mean I'm imitating you now. I've learned from you. Just as someday a man will teach a dog how to talk, I've learned to talk just from observing you. I haven't evolved the ability to talk. I've just learned it. I'm basically a parrot of the prehistoric amoeba world. I bet you didn't see that coming, did you? And the first amoeba, henceforth known as the second amoeba to him, but this narrator continues to call him the first amoeba, which I admit it's a bit confusing. The first amoeba says, I have to admit that's quite clever. What you've done there is evolve the ability to learn and mimic. So you've basically just become a photocopier. You're parroting me, but I'm the one who's really evolved to the point of being able to naturally speak. You're just basically making noises with your mouth, your single-celled mouth. You're moving your cell around a bit. Sure, you've been doing that since the beginning of time. And he'll tell you one of these days in the future you'll find that moving a single cell around puts a risk of breaking. If you break it, then you break a cell in two. That'll turn into some sort of an explosive device. Or maybe I'm thinking of something else. Is that electrons? Or, oh no, that's atoms. An atom isn't the same as a cell, is it? I don't know. I'm a mere prehistoric amoeba in a narrated story. Anyway, there's some shit over there. That's the whole point of all of this. There's some shit flowing down through that river. I've always wondered where the shit went. Me as an amoeba myself, I don't shit. If I were to shit anything out of me, being a single-celled organism, I'd only be able to shit one cell minimums, and if I shitted one cell out, then by definition I'd be gone. I'd have shitted my whole self out, so amoebas clearly don't shit. Do they urinate though? There's the question for you. Probably not. Urine. Can you divide urine into anything smaller than one cell? I doubt it. I doubt it very much, to be perfectly honest. So what we always basically established here from this is that amoebas probably don't need to use the toilet. And that's why when they go down and they see this crap flowing through an underground stream, they can say, well, that certainly wasn't us that did that. Oh no, that was whoever came before us. We're not responsible. Someday there'll be a species here and they'll be saying, oh, we've messed up this planet. Well, we didn't mess up this planet. It's probably the dinosaurs. So we the amoebas are basically, we're like the Garden of Eden. It's like the Garden of Eden, except there was dinosaurs before us, or someone put that crop there. If you don't mind, I'm going to fade myself out there, because the next bit goes a bit haywire. I get a bit lost after suggesting that, for some reason, after I suggested that the amoeba, the prehistoric amoeba, was like the Garden of Eden, except with shit left over from the dinosaurs, I got a bit confused there then. I didn't know where to go next. So you won't have heard it, but if you had heard the next part of that segment, you would have heard me saying, note to me, please fade me out and start something new here, because this isn't going as well as I'd hoped. Although I'm quite happy with the part that you heard. The part that you heard, I said everything I needed to say about amoebas. Basically, amoebas, they're fucking fantastic. They are. They don't shit. They don't leave any waste. They don't eat or shit. They're just a cell. Not to be confused with anything. What would you confuse her with, for fuck's sake? If you saw an amoeba there, assuming you had a big magnifying glass on the stand and an amoeba came up there, and beside the amoeba there was a cell phone, he'd say, there's an amoeba and there's a cell phone. Oh, I can't tell which is which. You would not. You'd say, that's a fucking amoeba and that's a fucking cell phone. Now, which one do I want, or do I want both? Maybe I don't want anything. It's maybe I'm being succumbing to my automated human desire to automatically have something. There's more to life than having things and getting things, you know. Just because there's a phone there and an amoeba there doesn't mean you have to have one or both immediately. You can just leave them there and enjoy the moment for a while. You're looking at a fucking amoeba through a microscope. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy the moment, because it won't be there forever. The moment will be gone. It'll be gone. No matter what you might think with your fucking time theories of us every time throughout history existing simultaneously, you're only in that time for whatever time it is. I don't know, a minute, an hour, a year, a billion years. If you're sitting in front of that amoeba for a billion years and then the billion years ends, then that's gone and maybe there somewhere, but unless you've spent a billion years thinking and philosophizing and figuring out how to stay in that time forever, in which case you'll have wasted the moment anyway, then it's not going to be, it's going to, you get my drift. I hope you get my drift anyway. I hope I'm not rambling. If you're a new listener, incidentally, it's not always like this. We do other stuff too. We do stuff like, for example, waving around bottles of energy drink. That is the same one I was waving on the previous episode. I slowed down on the energy drinks a bit because we've upped our coffee quality. So I've been drinking better quality coffee and not eating as much of this crap down my gullet. Although I do need the third piss of this recording session already now. So never mind that though. Anyway, suffice to say, on with the show.
You're listening to Into Your Head with your humble proprietor, Neal, from Ireland.
Academia versus arachnophobia. There's one for you. There's a little... if you're one of those debateologists who works in one of these colleges, there's a little debate topic for your next meeting. Acrophobia versus... what did I say? Oh no, I said academia versus arachnophobia. So, but I suppose arachnophobia versus... the first one was good. Academia versus arachnophobia. We'll say, one side will say, spiders are fucking terrifying, it's quite reasonable to be afraid of them. And the other side will argue that, academically, if you have a look at this, there's no reason to be afraid of one of those things. It's just basically a round thing with hair on it, and it's got legs coming out of it, and the tiniest little mouth you ever saw on anything. You've got cats with bigger mouths than that, for Christ's sake. No, if you're afraid of that, you're being unreasonable. You're being, you're trying to stir up a storm in a shit cup. Is that what they call it? No, a storm in a teacup. Not that there's anything. A storm in a teacup wouldn't do any harm to anyone, unless of course the teacup was the name of some valley or something, and there is a tornado a brewing. Is that what they say? I think that's what they say in America anyway. They say, oh, there's a storm a brewing. They leave off the G and they put in the apostrophe instead. They say, oh, look, there's a storm a brewing. Why don't you say there's a fucking storm being manufactured by Mother Nature, the bitch. The bitch is, she's not a fucking beer manufacturer. She's a bitch who puts out these fucking storms that kill thousands of people every year. Stop trying to make it poetic. Oh, you see all this. Although now that you mentioned it, I wrote a poem once about winter that was quite good. Do I have it here? Here we go. Nature's Winter Tale. Beyond the dew glazing, where dew water is hazing, another world does exist. Animals busy themselves like merry little elves, preparing themselves to exist through the spring. Somewhere in the midst, a creature in dire straits, in vain flusterings to assemble its mid-December nest. The wind is too strong, and she waited too long. Around and afar blow the straw and the leaf. What a life for a sparrow, an extended summer, a sojourn in South America. It became an autumn, she forgot to go home until now, and the weather's against her. Oh, fuck, she says.
Remember, we value the opinions of you, the humble and ignorant listener. Email studio@intoyourhead.com.
Earwigs. That's what they call them. They call them earwigs. It's a type of an insect. Apparently the insect world is now so varied and important that we have to distinguish between the different insects. So you have one that's called an earwig, you have another one that's called a fly, you have a thing called a gnat, you have another thing called a bumblebee. There's all sorts of variety in the insect world. There's no end seemingly to the number of different types of flying dots that go buzz in the world. They're all completely different. Next we'll have to start giving them numbers like we do with prisoners. We'll give them each a number. We say there's insect species number 00001. There's that one with the wings that stings children and terrifies them. Let's give them all. I don't give everything a fucking name now. I have to go out in the street now. If I see a stone on the ground, I have to fucking identify it and say, oh, that's a yellow horse grey stone of the southwestern County Kildare variety. What does it matter? Stop naming things. There's more to life than attaching titles to things. I don't go giving out my name every 5 seconds on this. No. If in case you're interested, it's Neal from Ireland. But no, I don't need to be naming every fucking thing you do. I just breathed out some atoms of carbon dioxide as I was saying that just now. You didn't see me naming, although admittedly in chemistry it's different, because each molecule of carbon dioxide is the same, at least such is my understanding. But if they're the same, surely that gives you even more need to name them so you can differentiate them in some way. If you can't differentiate them by appearance or style or substance, surely to Christ you have to give them names so they'll be that was the problem with the Beatles back in the 1950s when they came out. They all had the same hair. They had their pudding bowl haircuts and the same suits on them, and they all looked pretty much the same. No one could tell them apart, so you had to give them names. They say this one will be called John, and this one will be called Paul, and this one will be called Ringo, and this one will be called George. And everyone just assumed if we give them names it'll be fine, because you'll be able to tell them. A problem there is you still don't know which is which. You have 4 names, you have 4 pudding bowl haircuts, but you have to match them up, and mathematically, let's see, there's about 128 different combinations. If you do that, they used to bring out Beatles Etch-a-Sketch Join the Dots game books for children, and they'd say, here's the 4 names, and here's the 4 pudding bowl haircuts, just draw a line between the name and the corresponding haircut. You'll be at that forever. My wife's a teacher of young children. She still uses that sort of thing, except admittedly without the Beatles in them, because they're going out of fashion now. Oh, that's fame for you. 15 minutes of fame and then you're out the window. I remember in the 1970s they used to try to get around this. The rock bands, they'd have 15-minute long songs. They'd have the likes of Stairway to Heaven with a big long guitar bit in the middle. Deep Purple were very good at this. They'd put out a big huge long song with Rick Wakeman or someone, or one of them people with the hair and the the sort. The psychedelic hair rock bands, they'd have 15-minute long songs, the likes of Pink Floyd, and they'd say, there you go, that'll be my 15 minutes of fame, and I'll be off now, and I'll just sell that 8 billion times. And someone will go, no, it doesn't work like that. It's not about the length of time that you're singing during the song. It's about how long you're famous for. And to be perfectly honest, if it's only going to be for 15 minutes, and here we are back in the 70s in the world of the non-internet. There's only so many customers that can be served in a queue in all the record shops in all the world in the space of 15 minutes. So if that's what you're talking about, then it's not going to work for you. But I suspect since you're still successful now in the 2000s, or you're still rich, or whatever you call it, I suspect that's not what you were talking about. So we leave that at that. Anyway, suffice to say, it's a time for an ad. Yes, it is. It's time for an ad. You like this program? Well, obviously you don't like this particular episode because it's not going very well. But you like this program normally. If you can set aside your hate and disdain for much of this particular episode and think about the other 637 episodes that I've put out over the last several years, do you think this could be something you could put your head behind and put a bit of support into the podcast? Don't worry, I'm not asking for money here. It's coming up to Christmas, and if you'd like to support the podcastual arts, you can do so by using my Amazon links. Every time you go Christmas shopping, go to intoyourhead.com, click on my Amazon links. There's one for Amazon.com, one for Amazon UK and Ireland, and one for Canada. If you go through them, proceed as normal with your Amazon shopping, and I get a generous commission. Doesn't cost you anything. Supports the podcastual arts. Intoyourhead.com.
We're back with the Into Your Head podcast.
I know what you're thinking there. You're thinking, Christ, what the fucking hell was that? What in Jesus Christ's fucking, no offense to the deity or to anyone else, but what in Jesus Christ's fucking name was that? Well, I'd say calm down. It's just a bit of fun, for Christ's sake. It's just a fella with a deep voice. Nothing to get worked up over. It's a fella with a deep voice who said, I'm going to sit down and do my deep voice into a microphone just to show off. I'm going to keep a record of it. I'm going to keep a recordual. That reminds me, I found this site. This is probably as good a time as any for this. Have to find it again now. Convert. Found a thing. Here we go. Convert text to binary. oddrob.com/binaryconvert.asp. Let's see. What do you want converted from text to binary here? Will we try monkey nuts? We will indeed. Monkey nuts. Binary output. Monkey nuts in binary is 01101101010, etc. It's a bit long. It's a bit of a rigmarole there for you. But no, suffice to say bollocks. That's what it suffices to say. Bollocks. You don't need a big long string of ones and zeros when you have words like bollocks. That's why we have them. If you want to say, look at this. My opinion on the proceeding is that it's a pile of bollocks. Just say bollocks. That's all you have to say. You don't need a big long. That's why computer programmers disappear up their own arses. They say, oh look, monkey nuts. Let's put that into a universal language of ones and zeros that anyone can understand if they're like us. So they go 110111100111100. I just say bollocks. Of course, they can convert that to ones and zeros as well. But no, I think it's far more effective as bollocks. And in fact, if you look at the word bollocks written down, at least by my spelling, let's have a look at it now. I've got Microsoft Word non-commercial use open here. BOLLOX. That's how I'm spelling it. Right, all of you now, I want you to get out a pen or get out your smartphone or your keyboard, wherever you have handy as a writing or typing implement, and type the word bollocks, BOLLOX, and have a look at it now, and concentrate on the middle of it now. You see, there's two, we're writing it in lowercase, okay, so you have two straight lines in the middle, then you have an O just left of that, another O just right of that, and then you have a nice B at the left. It looks like it might be some sort of an ear. And you have an X at the other side. It might be an ear that's been cut off or something. So the perfect word. Imagine now you want to convert that to ones and zeros, and you think that's going to be any more better. No, ones and zeros are just crap. Far better to have a B and an O and an L and an L and an O and an X and just say bollocks. So go away out of that with your fucking computer programmers. You didn't need a computer program to do that, I can tell you. No, there's no programming involved. Just the great, good old-fashioned human tongue and the human mind, and a bit of natural expression for once. Just say bollocks. They used to say back in the old days, in the 1980s, they say drugs. Just say no. Far more effective to say. Just say bollocks. Load of bollocks. That's all you have to say. Just say that to everything now. Be more. Have a bit of confidence in your language, for Christ's sake. We have these fine words, and you're going around with your elections where you put a tick mark or you tick yes or no. Just write bollocks behind beside the thing that you don't want, or type this one beside the one that you want. What's wrong with a bit of free expression? Give me a fucking break. Anyway, on with the show.
You're listening to Into Your Head, hosted by Neal.
Absolutely fantastic.
Two members of the 1960s boy band the Beatles walk into a bar. One of the members of the 1960s boy group the Beatles goes straight up to the bar and says, "Hello, can I have a pint of your finest English good old-fashioned green ale, or wherever you drink over here nowadays, please?" And the barman straight away says, "Fucking hell, it's two ghosts," and screams his head off, and then he calms down eventually, as if everything, because nothing lasts forever. No matter how bad it is, you'll always calm down eventually. Even if you see a couple of ghosts, you'll calm down eventually. They'll probably be calm as it is, because they're probably either already aware that they're ghosts, so they've had time to get over the shock, or else they're not aware, in which case they haven't even had a shock at any point. Either way, it's just a matter of time for everyone to calm down. So the barman calms down, and eventually he says, "Did anyone see that?" And the other member of the 60s boy group, the Beatles, who walked in with him, says, "Yes, I saw that. That was my colleague there, asking you for a pint of wherever you drink in pints in English pubs nowadays. We don't remember, quite frankly, although he was around into the 90s, if I remember rightly, so he probably has more an idea than me. In fact, I'm not sure, did I even drink? I I know I allegedly took a lot of drugs, but did I drink? I don't know. Didn't I live in New York? I wouldn't have been drinking pints of green ale there, I'm sure. I don't know. Who am I to say? Who am I to say what my former living self would have done in this situation? No, it's not for me to say. Anyway, give peas a chance. That's why I like these English pubs. You go in, you say, can I have a pub grub lunch, please? And they say, certainly. And they give you a big pie with mash and peas. And you say, I know not everyone likes peas, but please give peas a chance. And then the dead fella will say, I meant peas. Is this some sort of an attempt at a pun? What is this, fucking Twitter? And the fella will say, oh, I see you still swear then, despite being dead. That's great, good for you. And John Lennon says, oh, you're all cocky now that you've calmed down, haven't you? Oh, you're here swear. A minute ago you were screaming your head off. Although admittedly that was at George Harrison, not me. No, now you're doing your little pea puns and all your other crap. I knew the world would end up like this eventually. What next? You'll be putting out music, sending music through the air, recording it in air and saying, here, download this air, and you have the right to play it until you break one of the rules on this virtual thing that you tick the boxes on. That's what you'll be doing next. And the barman says, we don't serve you such sort in this bar. Get the freaking hell out of here. And John Lennon leaves, and George Harrison leaves, and they go outside into the outside world. Where they go after that is none of our business, because it's outside the remit of this story. Anyway, good morning.
Sit, Laurie. Sit. Good cat.
IntoYourHeadPodcast.com.